Today, I'm talking to the guru. I'm talking to the wise man on the hill, the 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 whole establishment or um, machine that is Mr. Bill Gollan. How are you, Billy?
Good evening, Nick. A machine, eh?
Was
Wow.
good intro?
Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty good intro. I never ever heard anyone call me that before. Probably not as quite often nice things about me, but saying, but no, look, thank you, Nick.
Well, I heard your
But
missus
but
said
but
your
it,
missus said no, no, no. Your missus said you were a machine,
well, yeah, well, that's yeah, well, don't give away that one.
energizer bunny
Yeah,
type thing.
yeah, don't give away that one too well. Yeah, she might get a bit embarrassed, but yeah, but it's not so much me being the machine. It's the machine behind me, eh?
But you're a man of energy, which is what I love, and you're a good friend, and I love
Yes.
every get to
Yeah.
chat. And, mate, we have a reason to chat tonight because this, weekend coming up on Good Friday is the Bill Gollan Festival. Um, uh, actually, no, Bluewater Festival. That's right. Not the Bill Gollan Festival, but the Bluewater Festival. So,
No, it's not. Some people think it is, but it's not. I can assure you it is the actual Bluewater Festival. Uh,
but in saying that, the Blue Water Festival would not exist if it wasn't for that energy we were talking about that Bill Gollum has put into our 4017 region to make this thing happen and grow and exist. And mate, all power to you, buddy. As an entertainer, what you've done is in building this thing has been great. So we're going to have an awesome one this year. I think the weather looks like it's going to be going to be perfect. 'Cause we have endured mini cyclones and everything else putting this thing on together. But, mate, it's been your energy and I won't harp any on I won't embarrass you anymore on that, but, mate, I just wanna say thank you for everything you've done to make this thing, probably in Southeast Queensland, the biggest community event that exists, I think.
yeah, Nick. Yeah, well, yeah. Look, thank you, Nick. Yeah, look. So, look, yes, it is. It is driven from the top, uh, but let me tell you, as a machine is, I'm probably the small cog. If you look at a motor in a car, the small cogs are at the top, and the big ones give all the grunt at the bottom. And well, the bottom's not the right word, but and inside the motor. So look, the Blue Water Festival, I can give you a little bit of an overview of that and where it's come from and where it is today. So I think it was back in 1997, the then president of the Chamber of Commerce, Ann Hobbs, started off the Blue Water Festival. And I remember I was running one of my little business down in Deagon in those days, and I got approached to be a bit of a sponsor for the Blue Water Festival. And the concept was, um, we have in those days, well, we still have it, the start of the Brisbane Gladstone yacht race, which in those days launched right off the end of the Shorncliffe Pier. Like you'd almost reach out, touch the boats. Um, it is over the Easter weekend. Some may say differently, but it is the largest sporting event in the country over the Easter weekend on Good Friday. Um, along the beachfront, we probably get about 15 to 18,000 people on a good day. This weekend, we may even get up to 20 along the
Yep.
bit, roll on the Sandgate foreshore. It's not just Shorncliffe, and right around over to Redcliffe in that part of the world. So massive event. That event's been going for 75 years. So we're only a babe in the woods when it comes to that. Um, so it was originally ran over for about a week, and there was a lot of enthusiasm and over a period of time, as you know, as we were talking about off air before, you got to keep driving these things to make sure they have the enthusiasm. The enthusiasm attracts enthusiasm. It's an old saying of mine. Someone else might have said it before me, but I believe in it. Um, that The it died a little bit. So we went from a week-long festival, and there was midweek races, and there was little events in the area and over a period of time, to a period where Anne stood down from the chamber, other people took over, and over a period of time, the Blue Water Festival, unfortunately waned. I mean, the concept in its essence, the Blue Water Festival is the great back to Sandgate weekend or day. Like everyone from and we've talked the past Sandgate 4017, the north side of Brisbane, the Bayside area. Um, it's the great get back together everyone for the day, and you run into people you haven't seen probably 12 months ago, and and even longer than that over a period of time. And it's just a really, really good vibe. It's community. It's people bonding over what makes our area great, our Bayside area great, and it
But
is
al
on the Bayside, which makes it
yeah,
even better.
but
So,
also, going back before that, I mean, I think a lot of people forget that going back into, like, the early 1900s, late 1800s,
ooh,
Sandgate
not that up,
sh
Nick.
area, but that was the area where people went for their beach vacation. They went for their
Mm,
it was a place to go to if you lived in Brisbane in those days, and, of course, you couldn't travel to Gold Coast or Sunshine
mm.
Coast or else. It was a huge tourist destination back in those days in
Well, it
that
was when the train line was completed, and I think it was about there again. My historian friends will correct me if I'm wrong, which I probably am. Around about 1896, 1897, the train line to Sandgate was completed. Um, from the city. So it literally opened up there. Before that, it was a bit of it was a hard grind. I mean, the days of horse and buggy and those sort of things and Cobb and Co, you know, coaches and that, it took only a day to get to Sandgate, but the train just opened it up. You could literally get there in about an hour's time and have a day, walk out to the beach. So I remember reading an article many years ago with the centenary of Brisbane, of Australia. So if you remember back in 1988, the bicentenary of Brisbane of Australia, sorry, again, occurred, back 100 years before that, um, there was the centenary, and there was recordings of over 100,000 people in Sandgate on that day. They all most of them caught the train and buggies and that stayed here for the weekend. That was amazing article to read, and you consider in those days, there probably wasn't too many more than 100,000 people in Brisbane, like, there
yeah,
probably was, but not that many more. But let's fast forward a bit, and, the Bluewater Festival, over a period of time, sort of fell on sort of like a lot of things, sort of slipped back a little bit to where its preeminence as it was. Even myself, I probably over the last few years before I became involved in the Chamber of Commerce again, didn't attend them. But in those, I probably had kids coming up in a younger age, and so our plan was to jump on the barge and go to Moreton Island. Other people probably wanted to get in a car on a Thursday afternoon and drive up or down the coast before the traffic got bad. And all that was left was basically the people of Sandgate that probably didn't want to do that, or couldn't afford to do that. More importantly, um, so back in 2015, I became the Chamber of Commerce president, and then unfortunately, also what did hurt it for a few years, the Shorncliffe Pier closed and was rebuilt. If you remember, Nick.
yep, I
So
do.
for a period of time, the actual spiritual um, place of the of the Blue Water Festival, which is around the Shorncliffe Pier, sort of
Was
we
yeah,
lost it. Yeah. Um, so uh, back in 2016, I think it was 2015, I became the Chamber of Commerce president. Late 2015. In 2016, the pier was reopened in early 2016, and by chance, um, uh, we tried to reinvigorate the Blue Water Festival at that stage, and an old friend of mine talked to me, and he always said, "Look, Bill, if you want to do something really great with the festival, it'll take you 3 to 4 goes before people it bites and people really get it." So the Blue Water Festival had this, what would you call it? It wasn't in the forefront of people's minds on Easter like it used to be.
mhm,
Um, so we sat down with a few people and said, "Well, what can we do to, bring it back, let's bring back, you know, this great vibe that Sandgate there's other places of the vibe that Sandgate's missing out on, we can bring back too, and we can probably talk that at a later stage." But, um, so we sat down and said, "Well, what's right? What's wrong with it? What do we need to fix?" Now, obviously, over that period of time, and it's no fault of the organisers or the previous organisers, the boats moved off the Shorncliffe Pier.
mhm,
Um, because they got bigger and they couldn't come in closer. So feeling attachment with the Shorncliffe Pier was out of date. So one of the things we introduced is we got hold of the multi-hull associations. Now multi-hulls don't draw as much water, and we got them to come for probably about 6 or 7 years, and they came in right in close to the pier. Not as many as them still, but it was great to see. Um, one of the other things which, we brought into place, years ago was, obviously the official start of the race is by cannon fire. So we thought, well, let's put a cannon on the end of the Shonklip Pier, attract people around there, get a bit of, a bit of magic going, and that was great. Um, but the really important thing was we did is we said, well, look, it's what do we need to do to attract families out for the day? We need to give them entertainment, and the entertainment, I think, it had become a sort of a secondary uh, priority of the Bluewater Festival. Um, to the point was is when I took over as Chamber of Commerce president the first time I ran the Bluewater Festival, we had sniffs, and if you remember, Nick, the there was a festival sales at Redcliffe,
Yep.
okay, and there was an organisation funded by the Moreton Bay Regional Council called Embret that wanted to pull the start of the Brisbane to Gladstone yacht race and take it to Redcliffe.
Yeah.
Um, and they were prepared to pay money for it, and we said, "Well, hang on, no, we better fight for this, it's important. It's important to the people of our area to keep the start of that race there. It's literally been there for generations." So we reinvigorated the, uh, the entertainment package, to attract families there, and we fixed the fire we made the fireworks bigger and better, and, over a period of time, we tweaked it and changed it and mucked around with it. Over the years, like, we've had, fortunately, the first day I ran the Bluewater Festival, and the reopening of the Shonklip Pier was beautiful weather, and that was really great, and that was, and, we jokingly talk about the Chamber of Commerce that I've got a phone call to the big fella upstairs, and we not most of the time, we do get very good weather, except for when, of
You
course,
had
you
one
probably
year
wouldn't
where obviously you'd been a bad boy and, you didn't get your
yeah,
request answered,
yeah.
but, I won't
They
go
didn't give
to
me any Easter eggs that year either, yeah.
but
Must have
I
been a bad boy.
why what the bad things you would have done, but, it's all kind of obvious that you had a bad year that year.
Yeah, so funny, Nick. Let's so the Bluewater Festival went on. It went from strength to strength, and to a point where I'll come to what you're just talking about there, strength to strength, and the numbers grew back. And we know, as you know, we're getting 12, so probably during the course of the day,
That's
up to fifteen
huge.
thousand people there during the day. Yeah, and that's amazing, and I'm very proud of that. It's a very big event to put on. It's very the logistics of it, considering we're doing things on Good Friday, is amazing because if you've got to get someone to do something, it's triple the price, and that's if you can get them to do it,
And
from the
it's not and
tours.
it's a community event. You're not charging people $100 to come in
No,
and have this
it's free.
budget to work with.
It's
You're
free.
working with money that comes in from sponsors and government support,
Yeah, go
to put on an event for the community, and that made when you're working in that space where you haven't got those profit margins, that's a really difficult thing to do.
Well, the event probably costs about 80 odd $1,000 to put on. We get some funding from the Brisbane City Council, a fairly good bit of funding, and they've also seen the value of the event. Um, and this is where the business side of it comes into.
Cassidy for you.
You've got a bit of business house to run something like that, and the group of people I have around me are I'm very fortunate to have them involved with to do that. Um, the the Brisbane City Council contribution probably doesn't quite match probably match about a third to half of what we depending on the year. So the rest is about what we get from sponsorship and stall holders and rides and that sort of stuff. I mean, to give you an idea, it cost about $8,000 to $10,000 just to put the fireworks on.
Yep.
Um, and that's, boom, 10 minutes of fireworks, boom, bang, bang, bang.
Mhm.
I love it. It's spectacular. I'm
Great,
an
mate,
old
mate.
softie. Yeah,
Great.
but yeah, just to give you an idea what the costs are, to get anyone down there on the day to put generators in and that sort of stuff, it's triple time. Um, very expensive. But look, we don't complain about
Except
that.
let me just clarify there, except musicians turn up at their normal rate, they don't get triple time like
Well,
generator.
we're gonna talk about that, Nick. Yes, so I was coming to that. So
Mate,
just
and
the
that's
idea,
not just you, that's not any venue I work at.
yeah,
You used to get rates raised back in the '80s and '90s.
yeah,
Now, when they put their prices up on a public holiday, the venues, hotels, and they
yeah.
pay their staff extra, they're still paying their musicians the normal rate they always pay. So I just want to throw that out there.
No, no, that you 100% correct, Nick. But but what it does, and we are a little bit fortunate. Most of the venues are closed on Good Friday, so it gives us the ability to tap into acts that probably weren't working on that day anyway. Um,
Yeah, and I wasn't pointing at the
no, you
festival.
want no, I get it. I'm taking it right.
Festival
Yeah.
pays well, I get that. I'm just pointing out to people who wouldn't understand. I'm sure a lot of people think musicians get paid triple rate on these days, the same as the bar staff do. That doesn't happen.
Well, no, it doesn't happen, but a little bit of a segue to what we're getting to here is, it was about a few years ago, um, there was a couple of well, quite a few years ago during COVID, going back to the festival sales, it was the peak of its powers, and, when COVID was on, they decided to run COVID because they thought the place was gonna shut down. We we held our nerve, and we ran the Bluewater Festival, um, literally the week after, the place got shut down, so we were quite fortunate that day. But let's go forward probably a couple of years after that. Um, we ran the festival, and I remember in the afternoon, we saw this massive storm coming across Brisbane, and it was black, and it was green, and it was grey, and it
The
was
venue's like,
lightning, and I'm going, "Oh, no, this is not gonna be really good." So, and we had a really great act on. I mean, it was the Blues Brothers guys, wasn't it? Okay.
yeah,
Um, and the Blues Brothers guys came and they started playing, and we just said, "Hurry up, get through your act, don't have any breaks." I think they played about 3 songs, and this massive storm hit. Like, literally, the big fella said, "You've had a good few years. I'm making up for it." Alright,
he
so it
blew our
literally bucking
he
down.
blew our stage to pieces. It was like leaking water like you've never known before.
Well, there's water pouring out of speakers, and our microphones are all wet, and, um, it was pretty amazing. But, something, the thing is, talking about the artists, and you're one of them, is that even though an event gets cancelled due to weather, the artists still get paid. So we just said, "Well, look, let's just power through this thing." The artists have arrived, the people are staying, we cracked on, but most of the artists buggered off, and all I looked around, and here was this one little blonde-headed soldier, um, going, "I'll put my hand up. I'll play." And we had, like, the amplifiers and the speakers were soaking wet, so they were crackling there, and we had guys going home to get, lawn blowers, and they're putting lawn blowers in the speakers and and Nick's going, "Run, later," yeah, and singing away and having a ball.
What we
We
did
we were
the
putting the tarpaulins around him and
What we did, the front of house PAs wouldn't work anymore because they got what you call it, they took the stage monitors that normally the artist would hear. We made them the speakers, and I was the last man standing is what Billy's saying, and I got up there and I just decided, well, I'll play the music and I'll do my thing, and as an acoustic artist, I could have got fried, but there was a little less chance for me getting fried than having a band up there getting fried, and, mate, we actually
we had a ball.
that event equates to me with I did a Gympie muster once where the floods hit up in Gympie, and people kind of couldn't get into the muster, but the people who were there were stuck, and the artists had to decide, are we gonna play in these flooded, raining conditions where people are soaking mud or not? And there was a number of acts who got up and actually entertained people and did it, and I just think that's my job is, you don't do stupid things, but it was, I was really proud of that day at Bluewater. I did get up and play when no one else could, and it was a good fun memory that over drinks we go, "Remember when?"
It was a fun, yeah, and it worked out really, really, really good. And
But that's
then
that's that
and then at
community.
one stage, then you'd sort of half finish, but then the storm doubled down. Remember that?
Yeah,
And we had to evacuate. I don't think we didn't even do the fireworks that night because it was
isn't had to cancel them, yeah.
we had to cancel. Yeah, that's right. We had already paid for them, but we lost our money on that. To be fair, the fireworks people come back and did a bit of a cut rate for us the following year.
Yeah.
So that's the government. It is an outdoor event. I mean, people go, "What do we do? We cancel it?" No, that's it. People coming to an outdoor event, they got to prepare for some.
Yeah,
Oh,
power
oh,
on you.
sorry about that, Nick. I focused some on. Sorry about that. I didn't realise I didn't have it on. Apologise.
That's
Um,
that's that's the fireworks company
that's the
renegotiate.
fireworks, mate. Yeah, that's the big fella upstairs phoning to see what he wants to do about the weather this week. Um, So where was I? So look, it's an outdoor event. There's always a bit of angst about that, but most of the time we get the weather right. And I think the weather forecast for this Friday afternoon or Friday, and then into the evening, if you're not doing it, and listeners and viewers, If you're not doing anything, come on down to a really great day, and we probably talk about the lineup, but I think this is arguably the best lineup of music that the Bluewater Festival has ever seen,
Yeah, mate.
including you the old fella on the other end of the microphone here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, of course, in the feature, so I'll get to that.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
But
you're getting this sorted out.
just to summarize for people who haven't been there, it's at the waterfront at Shorncliffe.
Mm.
The stage is set up on the beach. People see, goes down there,
A
but you
beach
also have
stage. Yeah.
a huge stage and you have all the food. There's all these food vans that are there. You go down the far end and you've got all these rides people can do. You walk out to the pier. It's like the ultimate great family day. The train, mate, are the trains working this year?
Yeah, yes, Nick, they are. I'm
I hope they,
told.
I
They
hope
could
they,
change, but I'm told.
yeah,
I'm told.
because we had a few years where the Queensland government decided to do rail works on that day
Yeah,
and over Easter and all that stuff. But on the railway, going back to the history side of things, mate, for quite a number of years, my family lived pretty much on the railway, beside the railway line between Sandgate and Deagon railway
yep, I grew up
stations.
on the railway line of Deagon too, Nick.
And every now and then, they do this day where these days where they'd run steam train along the line like it used to happen back in the early 90s.
Hmm.
And mate, the people that would just come out to grab onto the fences beside the
Yeah.
railway track and watch a steam train go by, people have this connection with nostalgia. And I think that's a big part of coming out to Sandgate and Shorncliffe and all that is we tap into a nostalgia thing that Brisbane has little of. Yeah, in as far as events, most of the events we have are new events. But when you come out to Shorncliffe to Blue Water, it's like reliving what people did back in the late 1800s and early 1900s, and you get to revisit that. And I think that's something people really enjoy. So that to me, it's like a historical thing that adds a lot of value because people we connect to our past and our ancient our ancestors and things like that. And I think there's a real need in this modern age to connect to that. And I think this festival, in one degree, supplies that. But what it also supplies is an opportunity to have an event that's available where families can come to. It's very rare these days to go to a place where you hear great rock music, great, um, activities, everything else, where you're not paying for it, but it's giving an opportunity for families to experience a great time together. And mate, that to me is the heart and soul of Blue Water and Shorncliffe and Sandgate. It's such a great family community, and that's what Aussies are about. It's like it's getting harder and harder for people to buy their family homes and all that stuff and everything else. But our culture is based around families and how we actually celebrate times together with our families. And I think that's a big selling point of Blue Water.
Oh, 100%, Nick. I mean, you know, big shout out to Nathan Ward, who come on board a few years ago with us, and, we were talking yesterday about this issue, and he just said he just loves doing the event. He said it takes him back to his childhood. Um,
Absolutely.
and you've got that. You've got this great community, which is Sandgate and, the Sandgate area and the Bayside area.
4017,
Yeah,
4017.
yeah, 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 the Bayside area, and, and then it mixes in with this festival that sits on Moreton Bay, right? It's free.
Yeah.
It's great
And
music. It's great food. It's fireworks. I mean, yeah, like, really, like, where else can you do that?
mate, it was amazing to me. In our history, people would go out from Brisbane to Sandgate, on the train lines, as you said. But
Mm,
also, we used to spend a lot more time on Moreton Bay, and we kind of lost that when the gateways to Gold Coast and Sunshine
we
Coast
did.
opened up.
Yeah.
But during COVID, I used to do quite a lot of gigs over in Moreton Island,
Mm,
and actually, yeah, and after COVID, but there was like a rediscovery of Moreton Bay for the local
yes.
community during that time. And mate,
Mm,
Moreton Bay is so amazing. It's just like we have so many islands out there that people can visit and they do their boat trips and everything else. And we kind of lost track of how important that bay is. And mate, that the islands out there protect us from tsunamis and all these other things going on. We live in paradise, man. And okay, we might get the occasional cyclone come down through here, but the whole Moreton Bay structure is so much a part of who we are as people in this region. And I think Bluewater Festival is called that because it celebrates that water, that bay, that whole expanse that gives us so many great opportunities to live a great family life.
I mean, I think, we're gonna invoke the old Sandgate High digging grammar, um, war cry here. I mean, the history of the area is, it's called Warra. It was an indigenous name for the area, and then I'll get corrected if I say this incorrectly, but I'll paraphrase it if I'm saying it incorrectly. Warra means expanse of water, and, you literally, I mean, I was down there walking this morning. Most mornings of the week, I'll get out and walk along that beachfront, and I just love it, mate. It's just how the hell lucky are we living in this place? Like, it's good, bigger than 10 bears. Um,
Amazing. Mate, I have a element of my family background which is Indigenous, and
mm,
I got to talk to an auntie once that who she said to me, "What are you?" And I kind of explained it in my terms what I thought I was, but she said, "No, what are you?" And at the core, it came down to an answer that said, "I'm a water person. I connect to the water environment." And that was like a light that went off to me and said, "This woman really knows what the she's talking about." Because yeah, I'm living a bit of my time up at the moment in Toowoomba. I love Toowoomba, all that. I've travelled to outback Queensland, but where I feel most comfortable is when I'm beside the water, and particularly the water around Moreton Bay. There's something there that connects to me and who I am as a person.
100%, Nick. And look, it's funny, you live around here long enough, you live on the water a lot, and, you notice stuff that probably a lot of people don't notice. I mean, I noticed literally on Sunday morning, the change of the season. The change of the season literally was a different ripple on the water in the bay. And I went, "Oh, there's the start of winter." And I know it sounds like a bit of a, you know, how good am I sort of scenario, but literally the ripple on the water at the change of season coming onto winter, it's a different ripple than it is during the summer. I said to my wife, "Look at that, winter's about to hit us because there's the ripple." Sure enough, it's been cool the last few nights. Um, but look, it's a great area. I love living here. And when I'm raising my kids here, I'm born here, I'm third generation, as you know. Um, yeah, and we have so much to offer. We have so much potential as an area. Um, it frustrates me sometimes.
So, mate, in saying that,
Mm,
there are I don't know how much detail you want to go into now, and I'll leave
mm.
it up to you, but there are some exciting things happening in the area. Is there a few things you can talk about with what's happening?
Well, what I can say at this stage, Nick, is the Brisbane City Council have announced a Sandgate precinct plan for the area. And it's something the Chamber of Commerce and the collection of business people involved, the Chamber of Commerce and people who own the properties in the area, the main street. Let's call it the CBD. I've been talking to Brisbane City Council for about 5 years now. Um, first, we need to address some issues. I mean, some people say, we need to protect our area, and you hear the way I speak about our area. Yes, we do need to protect our area. Um, but things never stay the same. Um, the Sandgate I know now is not the Sandgate I grew up in. The Sandgate I grew up in had 2 electrical stores, it had shoe shops like Mathers, it had women's clothing, it had, um,
And that
a
that old
record store, Nick, and they probably sold you records there, Mockridges.
that old Woolies store that used to be across where, like, kind of where
Yeah,
out now around there, and
yeah,
every rain, it would get flooded out.
yeah, and it had well, at least it had Coles, it had,
Oh, Coles, was it?
delicatessens, it had butcher shops, and you did not have to leave the area. I mean, Mum used to take me down to buy me school uniforms at, Russell's and Sandgate, the
You know,
drapery there.
it's still there
You can't do that anymore. I mean,
'cause Russell's
so
is still
no, Russell's is not there anymore, it's a kebab shop.
oh,
The good kebabs, just quietly. Um, but, look, there's this area that yeah, if you look at the history of Sandgate, and you touched on it slightly before. The history of Sandgate, I hear people talk about Sandgate as a sleepy, bayside village. People who grew up here, we never call it a village, we call it town. It had its own town hall, still got its own town hall, had its own town council, which merged with the Brisbane City Council, I think about the 1950s. Um, but, I remember growing up and my dad used to say, you walk down the main street of Sandgate and something like only 5% of the population had ever been to the city of Brisbane because you didn't have to live here. Everything was here. You buy anything you wanted here pretty well. Um, it was vibrant, but it grew up as a tourist town, a bayside tourist town.
Yeah.
Um, you know, people, as we were talking about before, drove their horse and carts here. Then the train line came. So they grew up and we had boarding houses. We had weekend places for people to stay. We had, I did a bit of research just recently. And over the years, Sandgate's had 12 pubs, 12 hotels. Yeah, and that's amazing. I think it's something like about 6 movie theaters over the period of time. Now those days are gone because things have changed, like technology and that sort of stuff. Certainly drinking hasn't changed, but,
Look, the cost of drinking has changed.
oh, yes, it has. Yes, that's a good point. So Sandgate is, is where it changed was a couple of things happened to Sandgate. Um, the years of getting to the Sunshine Coast and the Gold Coast back in the '60s, came about. We also had the in the '70s, the Gateway Motorway. We used to have to come through Sandgate, to go to Redcliffe or, the Sunshine Coast or any part of the world. Um, that was the perfect storm, and then we also lost our banks on the main street. We had something like 6 banks on the main street. I think we've got 1 left.
Yeah.
So
Well,
the foot
thank
traffic died. Over a period of about 10 or 15 years, it died. The other pressing issue, and I didn't realize it until, and this is one of my passions, going back a few years ago, my dad had a stroke, and, they lived in a two-bedroom house at Deagon, which I grew up in and where the family business was run. We went to school there. My dad's second generation, he grew up in Deagon as well, and, they couldn't live in the two-story house anymore because they couldn't get up and downstairs. So we better buy you a nice, like a not low set or a nice apartment in Sandgate where, we can, retire in peace but still be part of the area which you grew up in. The ability to downsize in this area is almost non-existent, Nick. And if please, if you think that's incorrect, please correct me. I'm willing to throw the
we
challenge
we
out there on that
we
one. Not
we
you,
had we had to
speak
move from
figuratively. Yeah.
we had to move from the region to Margate for
Well, there you
yeah,
go. You're an example.
that
So the
happened.
ability for people to live all their life in this area almost non-existent now. I mean, when you get old, you can't live in a two-story house. You can't live in a big house. But the knock-on effect of that is, and I've got a lady who lives in a beautiful big 5-bedroom Queenslander up at Shorncliffe at the moment. She's in her 80s. Um, she wants to move and downsize, but still stay living in the area. She can't stay living in the area if she downsizes. Now, the knock-on effect that is, if she had an ability and a place to downsize in the area and stay living here, uh, she sells a house and a young family moves in. So the area renews. And it goes over and it gives other people the ability to enjoy what we just, what we were talking about, the beautiful lifestyle we have in this area. And I hear people say that growth will damage, will change the way we are. Well, growth's coming, Nick.
Yeah.
As I've spoke about before, the Sandgate I grew up in is not the Sandgate we have now. So, to say that is just an absolute myth.
Hey, quick commercial break. Big shout out to our sponsor for today's episode, which is me, Nik Phillips. Look, got to thank myself so much. I couldn't be doing the show without me. And if you get a chance, check out the sponsor's website, www.nickphillips.com. Check out my music, my videos, my bio, all that stuff, and maybe contact me and book me for a gig. That would be great. But thanks, Nick, for your sponsorship. Back to the show. Those things you talk about, the plans for the region, that's
Mm.
something that the Chamber of Commerce plays a active role in developing, is that right?
Yeah, Nick. Look, we were approached by business people. I mean, there's some really, really telling and but damning statistics. Was as a Chamber of Commerce president, you don't want to shout about it in the weekend shopper. So, uh, uh, in our area and seeing that area, we have the lowest rate of population growth anywhere in Brisbane. Okay, some people might think that's good, but we'll get into that later. Um, we have the highest rate of people that are relying on government um, handouts, which is nothing wrong with that. I'll get to that, what the knock-on effect of that is. And we also have one of the highest growth rates of aging population in our in Brisbane as well. Um, Now if you were a business and you want to set up in an area, and you did a bit of research on the area, would you set up a business in a place like that with a declining aging population with lower disposable income? Um, I think not. I wouldn't. My other hat I wear is in my professional life as a business broker, and there's no way in the world I'd be advising anyone to set a business up in this part of the world at this stage. Um, and we've tried to encourage some of the larger, when I say larger, we've got McDonald's in the area, but some of the more boutique franchises to the area, ice cream shops and that sort of stuff. We've also tried to encourage some of the bigger markets in Queensland to come to our area, and we get a resounding no. The resounding no is based on the fact that of those issues I've said. Um, the other thing we have is, if you have do yourself a favor, Nick, and, and you go back to your music industry.
Yes.
If you have a party or a 21st or, or a milestone birthday or wedding in this area, if you invite people to come along from not just interstate, but just from the other side of town, and they
There's
wanna
no
stay local, they
yeah,
can't. There's no short-term accommodation, and that's in direct contrast to going back 50 years ago, 70 years ago. We had boarding houses, we had short-term accommodation everywhere this area because the nature of the area it is.
yeah.
Um, so there's this we need to fix it. I mean, I mean, and I really get and I really appreciate what some people say in the area about let's protect Sangate's character. Well, and they love it, and then there's no doubting that they do love it. But, there's an old saying, you don't wanna kill it with kindness. And, if we proceed to go down this road of low population growth, low spending capability, and an aging population, and we're gonna lose our schools are gonna decline, our businesses are gonna gradually die. And the area economically will literally go backwards,
Well,
which
mate,
means we're
I
not
was
gonna employ local people.
yeah, I was gigging like, with the Full Moon Hotel, which is it's the only venue I work in the region because Lucy and Toby look after me, and
Yes,
I respect,
great people.
like, the time, the support they give me back.
Mm.
But I was driving as we were driving with I was driving with my son Harry through the main street of Sandgate about 7 o'clock at the evening, driving up to the full moon. I said to Harry, "Mate, I just feel like I'm in a bit of a time warp where in the future, this place will look like James Street or Caxton Street and everything else, where it's crowded with people coming down, having pizzas, having kebabs, going to music venues, having drinks and all that. It just feels like it's ready for that to happen." And Harry said, "Oh, maybe it's just not the population reach." But I said to him, "Mate, you look at the competition for the region, you've got to go to like Nunda or Chermside and everything else. So you've got from Nunda to Sandgate to really parts of Redcliffe. There's a huge population thing that has nowhere to go locally. And the fact is that we have a train station that delivers people directly into Sandgate. And I just see that whole complex there could be a major entertainment hub on the weekend of not of people going crazy and getting, out of their heads and things like that, but coming to the restaurants, having food, listen to music, have like this really great atmosphere, this Bluewater Festival atmosphere every weekend. And I just felt it driving through the town where there weren't people there at that time. But I said to him, "Mate, I just feel like I'm in the time warp where I'm too early to be where what this thing is going to become." It just felt so good that this was gonna happen.
Yeah, look, Nick, you know, the Chamber of Commerce sort of a the extension, just to quickly go, we're about to release our, our submission to the Brisbane City Council precinct plan, and that'll happen over the next few days. You'll see some announcements. Um we've created a group called Activate Sandgate, and that's what this is about. It's activating Sandgate because the Sandgate is activation. It's positive, and it's aimed at 3 demographics, and the demographic of the people my age, you know, the 50, 60 pluses, who've got the kids off their hands. I don't, unfortunately yet, or fortunately yet, whichever way you wanna look at it, what day I'm looking at it. Um, the then, you know, when the kids are off their hands, do you wanna live in a big 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom house anymore with you know,
But
with you to look after? I mean,
even
they're the first demographic we look after.
even in saying
We
that
so
even in saying that about kids off their hands, mate, the area is full of people who have kids at the local schools, and my kids went through, Shorncliffe primary school.
mm,
They have mortgages. They're like kind of, yeah, the middle class. They're like got money in their back pocket. They're
mm.
not gonna go down, but they will spend locally if we provide the things and the opportunities for them to spend locally. And that's we don't want to make ourselves a, yeah, a high end area, or yeah, something that's too full on,
No,
because
no one's talking about that, Nick. No one's talking about that.
no, let's
No one's
make it an
talking about
area where these people who have mortgages, they got money, they got kids
mm.
at school, but they want to go out on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday to enjoy themselves. To me, Sandgate's the prime spot for that to happen.
Nick, look, one of the beauties of Sandgate, and we didn't really touch on it much, is, in the Sandgate that I know, and, you know, the battlers can live right next door to the multimillionaires,
Yeah.
and neither of them judge either one, all
Yeah.
right? And we talk about character. That's the character we gotta protect,
Of
and I think
course.
we can do that. Yeah,
It's a
I believe
Queensland,
we can do that.
mate, they're Queenslanders.
Yes, they are. Um, you know, I just think that, you know, yeah, there are the other demographics we need to look at, you know, I mean, you just hit the nail on the head. So we've got the older people, including myself, I'll put myself in that bracket, who need the ability to downsize in the area and stay living. Yeah, it's I think it's almost a God-given right. You should be able to live, die in the area that if you so choose to,
Of course.
um, over your life. Um, and that sounds like, yeah, chest beating and thumping, but it's not. It's the truth. It's a moral thing. Um, from my perspective, it is anyway. Then
Human
we've
nature.
got the other end of the scale is what you touched on. Um, my my sons are in the sort of early 20s to late teens, and you know, and you spoke about the Full Moon Hotel, and they're lovely people, the blacks, and they do a lot of great things for this area. But at the present moment of time, that's arguably one of the very few places in this area anyone in that sort of younger age group could go to. Now, I'm growing up there, and I'm gonna show my age now. Now, we had places to go. We still had the Full Moon in those days called the Osmond. You know,
Possible.
we had you know, the Seaview Hotel, we had the Brackenridge Tavern, and we also had the Homestead to go to. But there's very few places these young people can go and stay in this area. So, you know, why are we doing that? It's just it's not correct. So,
But mate,
this
well,
the
I am waving full moon flag to a little bit here, but
Mm, mm,
it's a message to everyone else in the region. Full
mm.
moon is getting a lot of the local young people
Oh,
to
yeah,
come every on the Friday and Saturday nights. The reason is they don't want to. These people don't want to go into the valley. They don't want to
absolutely.
do that cost of that, or the risk of getting into, bad situations. If
Yeah,
they can go to a great local place, which looks after them, they feel safe, they're getting good service, um, and they're hearing great music. The full moon, Toby and Lucy are doing that brilliantly as far as making that work.
fantastic job.
But that can be done at all the other venues around Sandgate doing the same thing. So
And look
we need to get to the point where we double the crowd going to full moon, and across their numbers, they club hop in their local street. And while they're going from there to Mr. Henderson's, they've got a pizza they can pick up, or they can, get some, Chinese food, or they can do these other things. To
mm,
me, that's what's ready to happen with Sandgate to explode, because these kids don't wanna go into the valley. You got these people who are got their mortgages, they don't wanna go into the city, they'll come out locally. You got the older people who might come out to these venues, up until 8 o'clock at night, whatever, and grab their meals, and maybe at the RSL, or the what's it called? The Services Club, whatever it is called.
yeah.
Yeah, they get their club meals there. There's so many people to capture in this marketplace to enjoy their time at Sandgate, and the flagship for that is the Bluewater Festival, And the step beyond that is from the chamber, and the plans are coming out with council to show how we can expand the region and
Mm,
to make it a vibrant place
mm.
where it becomes a new James Street in the Valley or a new Caxton.
Well, I don't think we can call it the James Street, Nick, and, I mean, I hear people talk about that, and that's a pretty good aspiration, but we don't wanna be James Street. We just wanna be a bloody good Sandgate. And like,
Let me
you know,
clarify that saying let me clarify it saying,
we
what
wanna
you
be
have
the best Sandgate we can be.
no, what you have in James Street is a mixture of restaurants,
Yes.
food,
Yeah.
entertainment
Yeah.
entities, this mixture of things where people around that Valley, Spring Hill region go to. I'm
Look, to
just
do that, we need people and people who spend money. Young people spend money, people with disposable income spend money. But if we've got a
they're in
a
Sandgate.
a growing a growing rate of aged people, that disposable income drops, right? So we need to correct that and bring it back to a bit of more of an arc, all right? And then the businesses not only survive, they'll thrive. And we've got, and I've heard some people talking about, um, oh, we get all these extra people in Sandgate. Well, we're talking about the main street of Sandgate. Let's be really clear about what this precinct plan is about. This precinct plan is about the CBD. So we're talking from 6th Avenue down to basically the railway station and a little bit of Rainbow Street and around the lagoon area. And, you know, as a Chamber of Commerce, one of the things we've identified, and you'll see in our plans when we release it the next few days, I'm quite excited about our concept of what the I'm Bumpin' Lagoon parkland could be. I mean, go in there now and it's dark, and no one's there. That's the greatest shame. I mean, it's the central heart of our area. It could be the great beating heart of our area, and it's
It
not.
it
Uh,
it was the park during COVID where I'd take my little battery speaker down and
yes.
some songs, and people would come down to our local community, and they'd top some money into my jar, when I was battling through COVID. It's just the most wonderful lagoon, um, the wildlife in there that you look at the turtles swimming around in that place, and you just go, "This is really cool." I love that, I
It's
love that.
magical. It's magical. I mean, we could make it really pretty of it, and like, there's no lights down there. Make it nice to go down there of a night time. Go down there for a walk of a night time, with your wife and your
But
girlfriend,
we
preferably not both at the same time, but we could probably go down there, make it
My
really
vision,
nice down there.
my vision is I could see, like, an early evening free concert down there with just, like, local performers, and then people go from there to the restaurants, to the venues, to everything else, extending from that central point of the lagoon, I think that would be
Well,
brilliant.
Nick, a very small spoiler alert for you, an exclusive for your show.
Oh, here we go.
Part of our concept for the area is to actually put a, um, an amphitheater stage in that
Yeah.
area. And,
Well,
the
make
concepts
you
I've seen,
make
you'll
sure
be
you
you'll be
invite Nik
pretty
Phillips
impressed.
make sure you invite Nik Phillips to perform there,
Yes,
which
Nik Phillips,
leads
we
me
might even get you to open the stage. How's that sound?
mate, it'd be awesome, but leads me to this thing. I'm gonna shift things here, mate.
Ooh,
Look at that. How fancy is that? I'm really technical on what I can do, but this
hey,
is
Nick, you did very well. And look at
yeah,
that, 12:45, Nik Phillips.
that well, I'll go through it. So we got
Okay.
12:20, got the opening ceremony. Is that where the Pollies do their thing, mate?
No, no, no. We get the representative of the mayor to open the Bluewater Festival, as we discussed before. The Brisbane City Council is by far a major sponsor of the event, and so the mayor usually opens it. And if he doesn't, one of his representatives do. We um, made a decision a few years ago not to have pollies up opening and speaking on stage at the event because no matter which polly you had, nearly half the population didn't appreciate it. So um, I just, it's Good Friday. It's not about politicians. It's
Yeah.
not about political statements.
Mate, is Ja
Politicians are all welcome. We are welcome with open arms, and we thank their support. I mean, we got some. Our local politicians all support the event financially. You know,
well, mate, is Jared
we
gonna
appreciate that.
is Jared gonna be there, Jared Cassidy?
Well, I don't know. They haven't said they're coming or not,
Well,
but,
I hope so. Jared and I locked horns over COVID time doing that,
yes.
but, mate, he has also supported me in things I've done. He supports the local community, and
Yeah.
I just want to put out there that Joe Cassidy has been a very strong supporter of live music and everything else. And when we butted heads, it's over because of issues that go beyond him and me. But I really appreciate Jared's support of the Bluewater Festival.
Yeah, well, Jared, Annika, and Bisma are all supporting the event, as is the Brisbane City Council. Um, it's Good Friday. It shouldn't be about politics.
Yeah.
It's about, if there is a little bit of religion about the day, I'm not saying that, or at least that our listeners, I'm not discounting the religion on the day. But I think that, as far as the festival goes, and particularly in the afternoon, as you can see by that opening, really the music does, and the entertainment really doesn't kick into gear until 12:45.
I mean, I'll throw this I'll throw this out. This is me talking to Billy, but I do have a Christian faith, and I have a lot of issues with the church, and I have my actual core faith is more around the teachings of Jesus, which fall back on the two main principles are understanding, having a relationship with God, whatever God is, we don't really know, but also loving each other. And they're the two things he puts across. And I think on this day about families getting together, community getting together, that's at the heart of what we want to celebrate.
Yeah.
If, or, yeah, and that embraces Christians, Muslims, whatever person it is. It's like, as Aussies, we're there to be there together, whoever we are, and I think that's a really important thing. Mate, we're at 11:40, there's the LO Laugh Out Loud, I guess that is Crew Kids East show. Do you know what that involves?
Nick, one of the greatest kids acts this country has ever seen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and one of the greatest kids acts this country. So it is aimed at the younger guys.
Yep.
Great music, great dancing. Um, any kids out there, if you don't come to that, you're gonna miss out. All right? Put the bloody iPads down. Stop playing PlayStation. Get mum and dad to drag you down there and grab yourself a Dagwood dog or Pluto pup or what are those twirly chip things?
Yeah,
And bit of
I know.
fairy floss and get cracking into that. And then mum and dad come down, grab a chair. I'm not supposed to say this, but grab an esky and then sit back and chill out to the great Nik Phillips. Aussie,
Well,
Aussie, Aussie. The big
you're drinking lemonade out of your esky,
oh
I can
yeah,
see.
hell yeah, 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 hell yeah, yeah, hell
But
yeah.
mate, so before you get to me, I just want to highlight myself that 12:45, the main feature of the whole Blue Water Festival happens, which is me on stage. And this year, I'm doing my one man country show.
Are
I
you
put,
really?
yeah, mate, I've got this new show I put together which celebrates old country music, new country music, and I expect everyone to be up there toe tapping and whatever. Bill Gollan, I have one song in there which I'm gonna
We're doing it, are we?
and it's not the one you think.
Oh,
I have a song for Bill Murray, his bunch of friends we have amongst that whole community, which I'm gonna dedicate to you guys during that
thank you,
time.
Nick.
So
It's
make
very
sure,
nice.
mate, all the crew, Jeff and everyone else is there, and their missus and their friends are there to hear me between 12:45 and 1:45 because I'm
So
gonna do that
so
special
Nick,
f
let me rewind that back 1 second. That's a really, really good point. Look, the weather forecast this Friday is gonna be really great, all right? Um, I'm, telling you all out there's listening and watching what's happening, get down there early because I think we're gonna have a massive crowd. Look at the lineup. I mean, it's arguably the best lineup in music.
if you're not
That
there by
Nick Phillips has
12:45.
the linchpin that we've ever had for the Blue Water Festival.
If they're not there by 12:45 to see me doing my one-man country show, they're gonna be
Well, they're gonna
s
miss out.
but we need to get therapists in to deal with people who miss that
Well,
part of the show because
they're gonna
obviously
miss out, Nick. I mean, like,
how are we
honestly,
gonna miss out on Nick doing his one-man country show? And this is my one-man country hat, mate. This is why I'm wearing my hat tonight because I
bit of
wear
the
this.
Aussie. Yep.
Yep. So at the moment, there's a boom in people it's not they're not getting into country, they're rediscovering country music. And I do songs from the past to now, whatever else. It's like there's so many great storytelling songs that bring people together. And mate, I am saying now, as good as these all these other other acts are, I'm gonna be make myself the feature of the event, and if you miss me from 12:45 to 1:45, well, you're a sucker. So I'm just
Oh,
putting it out.
undeniably, Nick, undeniably, but I'll be there toe tapping with you,
You
don't worry
better
about
be, because I'm not paying out on you, mate, but I'm putting out a tribute to you and your mates in the
oh,
region,
well,
and then be there.
I'm a bit scared now, but yeah, yeah,
No, it's a positive thing, it's a really good thing. So at 2 o'clock, we have Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Tell me about
yeah,
that bit, mate.
Big John and his gang, who come every year, they're part of the furniture. Um,
Well,
John's
more
is
than that,
big.
Big John is probably from Bridge FM and all that. He's probably one of the biggest hearted people you'll ever meet in your life, what he's put into the
Yeah,
community.
you
And
talk
then
about
what
community leaders. I mean, there's a big asterisk and exclamation marks all over his
I
name.
love Big John, and he's gone through amputations and things like that
Yep,
with his health and
yep.
everything, all that stuff. But come down, see John, mate. Then at 3:15, we got Rock God Drag to Move. I have no idea what that's saying. Do
So
you
Rock
know?
Gods and Miracles, we had an event not long ago, and they're all full of 70s and 80s music, and they get dressed up with all the wild hair, when the days of people like myself had it. Really great entertainment. If you really want to party, it's a great party band.
Mate,
Um,
with the wild hair, will they be getting you on stage? Is it?
oh, mate, you definitely, mate. Yeah, definitely, I'll be on stage for that one. But really, really great if you really want to bop on. And that is a real warm up for the next event. And you're talking about country music, so we pull it back a bit, and we got the Shana Twain tribute. So go girl.
Yeah. Woo! And look, I know they'll be trying to, against my country show, they'll be trying to pick things up a bit, and I wish them all the best of luck in that
Yeah, well,
stage.
good luck with that. Yeah, I mean,
I'll be there cheering them on, and, by the way, when I do my thing, I'll be hanging around, staying all day long, hanging around with people. I would love to catch up for a
oh
lemonade,
hell yeah, Nick. Yeah,
of
no, you're invited over to my
the
area
official
for
the
a
VIP.
cold glass of a lemonade. Yes.
Mate,
Um,
at 5:45, we have the Ice House tribute now. Um, I think that was a guy called Ivor Davies, right?
Ivor Davies, Ice House. Yeah, originally called Flowers, and Um, I haven't seen these guys, but I'm told they are fantastic. And, if you're an oldie but a goodie like myself, that will be a very great lot of music. I mean, great Southern land. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Mate,
Yeah.
6:30, we have a little tribute to a tribute to a little band that had a little bit of success around the place called, INXS, or In Excess.
Well, mate, haven't they just been installed in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in excess?
I don't know, but there should be. I
I
mean,
think I have, mate. Yeah, I think I have. So, arguably the greatest, the original band was arguably the greatest rock and roll act of all time from Australia. I mean, they literally conquered the world, um, in their time. Probably Australia's answer to the Rolling Stones, I say,
yeah,
um,
mm,
with their
yeah,
front tune at the time and the type of music they played. I'm 100 mile an hour on this one.
right.
I'm looking forward to this.
I think that, Rolling Stones or yeah, probably that's probably a good call. That's probably a good call. Mate, at 7:30, we have Toby and Lucy are gonna get out on boats. Is that right? They're launching it out in boats on there from the full moon, fireworks event. Is that what they're doing?
Yes, mate. And look, it is set to music by the boys at 99.7 FM. So tune in the 99.7 FM, Bridge FM. It'll be to the music and this year's fireworks display is going to be massive. The last year's fireworks display was not as good as would like to normally have it. So we've really cranked it up this year. I think we've got about 10 minutes, 12 minutes of really full on intensive fireworks. And with the beautiful night we're going to have and the water over the water, there's nowhere else you can experience anything like that. The fireworks over the water that I know of anyway.
Well,
So
mate, I I
giddy, on there.
I I'm happy for us to cut this up as a promo, but, I think Lucy should stay on shore. I think she's a lovely lady and she's got family to look after and all that. But I think if he's not out there lighting fireworks, he's going to be like a soft cunt. Saying, "Oh, cut it
Oh,
out."
no, we'll just, send some,
He's
like, flamethrowers over the top, yeah.
yeah, Toby's gonna be pretty soft if he's not out there lighting that. Because thing is, he's sponsoring the fireworks as all that. So Toby, We want you to stand up, mate, get out there, light fireworks, and stand up to your sponsorship.
No, great, and support again, we were talking about them earlier, we've got a great local, business, get out and support them over the weekend if you're still hanging around, the Bayside area after because this is Good Friday. Don't forget we got a long weekend. If you're not doing anything at the weekend, places like the Full Moon, get out there and have a beer, have something to eat. Listen to great local artists we got there for the weekend. Get down to your local coffee shop and get a hamburger and some fish and chips. Apparently the weekend's weather is going to be sensational. I know I will be. The wife was on me day. What do you want to do? And I said, "What do we want to go anywhere? Get on those
Well,
busy
we we
um,
we know the weather's gonna
roads."
be perfect because Bill Gollan has, connections to the man upstairs who he sorts it out all the time.
Yeah,
So you look at the next big location is Mora Park at Shorncliffe.
yeah.
You get at the train at, the Shorncliffe stop, which is the end of the line, you can't go any further. Walk up the hill,
Yep.
walk down the hill, and you're there. Um, the dates
You can
are
also get the trackless train from, Cliff Street, where the Baptist church is there. You
yeah,
can
really?
catch the trackless trains for a gold coin donation to the Sandgate Historical Society.
Okay, cool.
Um, I always recommend people try not to drive. There's not a lot of parking up there, and, in the past, and, we have seen, the police booking people for people illegally parking, so please don't ruin your beautiful Easter weekend by that.
And that
Um
that is a big thing to mention. There's so many people attend the event that parking around the area gets really hard. So maybe you might want to park 1 or 2 train stations before Shorncliffe. Put your car there, get on the
That's
train,
a
and
really good idea, Nick.
to the final stop because parking is hard. But mate, this last thing on this list here is the dates. It goes from Thursday to Saturday. Tell me about what happens on Thursday and Saturday.
So, okay, that's a really good question, Nick. So, sorry, that's my pup in the background. um, so Thursday night, over the last 3 years, we've reactivated the Thursday night, so that all the food trucks, all the rides will be down there. I think we've got a bit of live music down there. So if you can't make Good Friday, because you might be going away for the weekend, or you've got a family barbecue on, or something on. Come down Thursday night. There will be a little less crowds like normal. Don't go put petrol, extremely expensive petrol in your car. Just come down to Shorncliffe for the
Mor-
evening. Get yourself
Mortgage your
a
house
nice
for
little. Say again.
or don't mortgage your house for a petrol tank.
No, that's right. Don't put the money in the car. Come down and get yourself a bit of food truck. Sit on the water. And one thing I love about even after the event and on the Thursday and the Friday night when all the crowds are gone, I actually like just sitting down on the shore there and just listen to the water lap over the sand. It's so relaxing. Unwind the day. I shouldn't be telling to what that's one of those special things in life, particularly this time of year because the moon's in that full moon stage, and it's just beautiful watching it come up over the water.
Absolutely. Well, your mates can tell me stories about how the police have taken you home because you fell asleep on the sidewalk, looking at the sun coming up. And they said, "Mate, are you drunk?" He said, "No, I'm just the president of the Chamber of Commerce." And they go, "Oh, yeah, okay, whatever." They've picked Billy up. They've taken him home. His wife said, "I'm not sure who this person is, but I'll take him in and everything else." But these are the type of stories that evolve around Sandgate and Shorncliffe, where we just talk shit to each other,
We do.
a drink or two, have a good time, and experience music in the best environment in the whole world. And that's what the Bluewater Festival is about. And Billy and I have just talking some crap to each other and a lot of good information. And mate, love you, mate. I really love all the stuff you've done. I'm so pumped for my set on the weekend because people are going to be blown away. And the rest of the festival, it'll be okay, but it won't live up quite to my set. And I hope you boys are ready for it. And mate, thank you so much for your time and having this chat. Now, initially I said to Billy, let's have a chat. And he said, well, yeah, let's have a chat, but maybe halfway through the chat, he could interview me about my story. And I said, yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. We didn't realize we had so many positive things to talk about in our Blue Water Shorncliffe journey. So we will get back to an episode in the future where Billy interviews me to tell
Yes.
story.
We will, Nick.
Yeah.
We
But
we will.
mate,
We wanna know the Nik Phillips story.
man, there's
Probably
so
it'll
much
be hard hitting journalism.
there is so much dirt I can bring up on myself, which would just like, you don't have to go too deep. I'll bring the dirt up, and it's pretty muddy, mate, is what I can say at the end of the day. And I would challenge. I grew up in the Grange Kedron region, and back in those days, we thought the Sandgate, Brighton boys were like the real tough dudes, mate. I'll lay it down to you guys, and I'll say, you guys don't come close to my story.
Oh, wow. Everyone, stay tuned.
Thanks, Billy.
I
Thanks
I'm
so
looking
much.
forward to having that conversation.
Mate, I've laid down the parameters where we can build from for that.
Yep, love it.
And
Thank you, Nick, for your time.
that's all right, mate. I'm looking forward to you and your Sandgate Brighton boys coming up to my level. That'll be great.
All right. We'll
Right.
see you Friday, everyone. Come up
Yeah,
if you're doing nothing, please come up and say good day. There's nothing better about the day. Let's enjoy it and get on with it.
mate. As all these festivals get cancelled around Australia, like so sad about Bluewater Festival. Sorry, Blues Fest down Byron
Yes.
Bay, and the the
Blissful.
um
Mm.
the races day out in Birdsville that got
Mm.
cancelled. Blue Water is not about relying on the economics of it or the ticket sales. It's a family day that is going ahead and will continue to go ahead because of the efforts of this guy, Mr. Bill Gollan. So,
Oh, there's a lot more people than me involved, Nick, but
yeah,
thank you
mate. Yeah,
very
well,
much.
when I say you, I mean your team, mate. I can't mention all the names, but the people who run it. But anyway, mate, thanks for your time. Stay there, mate. I'm going to hit end recording. We'll chat a bit more. But Mr.
Sure.
Bill Gollan, thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Nick.